Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, and as you might have seen with the title, I have some very choice words about the game that I'm going to talk about. And yeah, let's just go straight into it. But before I go there, I would just like to remind you, if you like the video, then press the like button and do subscribe to my channel for more content like this. And just let's go. So right in the beginning of the trailer, which should be somewhere in the screen right now. Actually, it's taking up the whole screen right now. What the fuck am I even saying? Anyway, so Batman has decided to fuck off. And that was something that happened in Arkham Knight. He blew up the whole Batcave and the Wayne Manor. And this game essentially continues from this point on. Now, it makes sense that Batman is gone because honestly, the last time we had Bat and Man in the same sentence, it didn't exactly end well for the world. After that, we see that now Batman has given this emergency broadcast message to Batgirl, Robin, Nightwing, and Red Hood. Essentially, they are the knights, the Gotham Knights, they are the knights. So far, from what we know, we get to play as these four characters. Now, what I am not clear on is, do these four characters have their own story or are they interchangeable as protagonists? Because I will get to that in another point that is further down in the video. Now, with that trailer, obviously we were introduced to the heroes and one heroine. And then we moved to the gameplay trailer, which showed off a bit of the gameplay. And that is where the main meat of this video is. Now, I was looking at the video and felt like, yeah, that's nice. It looks like a Batman game, but Batman isn't here. It's the essentially his four students, you can say. Not students. It's not students per se. What should I say? Disciples? I don't know. These four were obviously under Batman at some point or the other. And they were good heroes. So now it's up to them to save Gotham instead of Batman because Batman is now gone. And the criminals obviously are like, yeah, Batman is gone. We are now going to come back to Gotham and fuck shit up. Which makes sense. So right off the bat, I would say the gameplay in the beginning especially didn't look that weird to me because yeah, it's a Batman game. I don't really think this game particularly needs to innovate. I think we all know what we can expect from a Batman game at this point. Although my one big huge hope is that Warner Brothers games, please do not fuck up the PC port this time. Arkham Knight still doesn't work properly on my PC, for crying out loud. I mean, honestly, Arkham Knight runs a lot better than it did, obviously. But still, there are some issues especially with the RAM. So if people have 8 gigabytes of RAM, the game just doesn't work properly. Anyway, moving on from all of that, that is old news. Now to the new news. So as soon as I saw Batgirl and I saw that, Batman has gone and it is essentially the Arkham Knight storyline that is continuing, two things came into my mind. First is, how are people going to react? Because, okay, I am not one of those crowds who get offended at literally everything. But I'm also not among those crowds that, have a problem with women existing in video games. I don't have a problem with either thing happening. I am someone who needs good characters. So now, as far as I know, Batgirl is supposed to be Barbara Gordon, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that is how it goes. She is supposed to be Gordon's daughter. Now, she was Oracle in Arkham Knight, so she was paralyzed from the waist down. Probably Joker's doing. I think it's part of the Killing Joke storyline, which I don't think the game's covered, but yeah, she was paralyzed from the waist down. Then how is she moving? Is this a new Batgirl or is it a version, or maybe she has some new thing, maybe it's robotics or something? I don't know, I'm just speculating. So it might actually be a completely different character who is a Batgirl, because as far as I know, it's supposed to be Chief Gordon's daughter who is Batgirl. Barbara Gordon, yes. So I don't know. Could be, could not be. That's up to them. So yeah, one concern that immediately came was, people just saying, this is a girl and all that. And we saw some of those comments on the trailers as well. I must say, these people are stupid. I mean, come on. Yeah, sure, Catgirl would have been nice to have. Maybe you will get that. We don't know. Catwoman. What am I saying? Catwoman, not Catgirl. Yeah, right. Anyway, so yeah, we might get that character because, as I'll say later on in the video, you will know why I feel like that. Now, I don't have any problems with this character existing. And even if you are someone who doesn't like to play as a female protagonist, there are 3 male protagonists here. So that is not what is wrong with this game. Having a woman is not what is wrong with this game. What is wrong is the gameplay systems that they are focusing on. Now, Batman had a really, I wouldn't say revolutionary per se, but it had a really nice combat system. When I say nice, I mean it's really easy. It's not very complicated, but it's really fun to, perform, and it's fun to look at. This is a combat system that got spun off into many games. Most of the open world games basically follow this template somewhere or the other. And the thing is, that combat system is now gone. From what we saw in this demo, it is completely gone. Now there are takedowns, but it also has damage numbers. So I feel like these takedowns are going to be one of those things like in Assassin's Creed, where it doesn't outright kill the enemy, where it really should. Now, the problem I have with this kind of a game is a problem I find myself having with almost every game that is releasing in the last 2 years. And that is thanks to CD Projekt Red. I mean, they developed such a great game that even a system in their game that didn't really work all that well, people just ripped off right and left. So the problem with this game is that it's a fucking RPG. Now, I love RPGs. I have got nothing against RPGs. It is the whole damage stat, enemy health bar thing that I have a problem with. And later on, yeah, my worst fears for this game came true. So now, at first we saw Batgirl do this takedown, but there were some damage numbers like 436, 500 something damage numbers. And the enemies died outright, so I didn't look much into it. But as soon as the combat began, now this is essentially, you could say, yeah, it's a similar kind of combat system that Arkham already had, that the Arkham series already had. So it's you press one button to punch, you probably press one to dodge, and one to parry in a way. So that all seems standard, except your enemies have health bars now and you need to hit them like 15 fucking times to take them down. And I'm already out of the game. Why do we need these systems? Can you not come up with a better system than that? Progression does not need to be locked into just numbers. You don't just need numbers to do it. Many games have done things with progression that are much better than this. Progression I don't want to bring up Dark Souls in this because Dark Souls has some numbers, but they are not always as obvious. I mean, look at the progression in Skyrim or Fallout. There are numbers there. There are numbers everywhere in Skyrim and Fallout. Every weapon has their damage stats. Every armor has their armor stats. Enemies have health bar as well, but you never really feel like it's a numbers game. You feel like it's a game. Yes, some enemies are harder, but it's not always the thing. Like, it's not like I'm slashing around 50 fucking times on a skeleton and then it goes down. And then I slash like one time on a skeleton and it goes down. Usually it's not that big of a difference. But even that, that's still, you can say it's a generic kind of a thing. And I personally do not like that system as well. I personally prefer systems like Sekiro, where it is much more skill based. Now, I suck at Sekiro, yes. But that is mostly due to the enemies doing so much damage on me rather than the system itself. If that system tweaked for a little bit of a casual audience, that would work well. That has no issues with me at least. And it will still have some of the skill-based elements. This number damage thing, as soon as I saw numbers popping out of enemies, the red numbers, yellow numbers, I was immediately taken right out of the game. Till that point, it looks cool. The suit is cool. The cape was especially very nice looking cape. I mean, Batman always wears black. I love that. Black is my favorite color, but I do like some variety in my gear. And variety in gear is another point that I will go into. So now, with all the, damage sponge thingies and all that, this just feels like this is another Avengers game. So the Avengers beta just kicked off, and by the way, there is also a video coming on that. So the Avengers beta just kicked off, and one of the major problems I have is that the hits don't really feel like you are hitting something. That's a problem I had with Odyssey, that's a problem I had with Origins, and even Witcher 3 to some extent. Where even though my sword is hitting, I am getting that feedback. It's just the damage done is so low that it feels weird. Yeah, that's how it is. I mean, when I saw this game, obviously I haven't played it. There's a difference there, but it just feels so generic. This system looks like something I've seen in virtually every single game that has come on from 2017 onwards. Any open world game that has come out from 2017 onwards has this combat system. And I fucking hate it at this point. I mean, seriously, what the hell happened to innovation? I know I went on Ubisoft for, ripping off Witcher 3, but it seems everyone is doing it now. And combat was one of the worst things in Witcher 3. Combat was not that good, guys, in Witcher 3. I'm sorry to say it, but it's not. Combat is not one of the focal points. In fact, there is a mod on Witcher 3 called the Witcher 3 Enhanced Edition. I feel like that mod really helps with the combat of Witcher 3. That kind of removes the whole level gating thing. And I feel like that really helps with the flow of the game. Because you don't really need the grind anymore, but you don't really care because the side quests are so interesting, you go to it anyway. Anyway, that's Witcher 3. We are coming back to Batman. I just get sidetracked so much. Anyway, so yeah, that is my problem. What is with the AAA games having these RPG mechanics? And you know that this is also going to be a live service game. In fact, I would be genuinely shocked if this is not a live service game. Because they have already announced that you can either play this campaign single player or you can play it as a 2-player co-op. So now, that already kind of gives you a hint as to what's going to happen. So it's essentially you pick a character of your own, you play the entire game with it. Or, maybe they will have a prologue with the 4 characters having, so you spend 10 minutes with one of the characters, 10 minutes with the other one. And so 40 minutes of a prologue, and then you are free to choose whatever character you want. And then you can have a friend join you in your session and you can go fuck shit up. Which I'm not against. I actually love co-op games. Saints Row 3 was one of my favorite games playing with my friends. But with the whole damage numbers things, it just feels so weird. And so unnecessary. And you just know that this is a system they are just making so that they can increase the longevity of the game. And they are going to introduce more characters. So many people were complaining, oh, why don't we have Catwoman or why don't we have other characters? Don't worry, you are going to get them. It looks exactly like the same kind of a model that Avengers is going for. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if they had proper gear stats and stuff. Like you loot new gear or you buy new gear from the store and you get stats and stuff. Now, obviously, I'm again not 100% sure on this, but seeing the trend that all the games in the industry has taken, it's a pretty educated guess to make. I'm not going too far into the far-fetched category here. I think I'm well within my justifications to make this prediction. That this Batman game, the Batman Arkham Knights, no wait, what was it? Gotham Knights, yeah. Arkham Knight was the last one. The Batman Gotham Knights, I just feel like this is just another excuse of a game that is just going to go for live service and, do this entire shitty RPG thing. And I'm fucking sick of it at this point. I'm not saying that just because of this game is bad. No, not at all. In fact, some people even message to me like, dude, you were saying that Assassin's Creed is unoriginal. It doesn't actually need to be original, does it? Look, you don't need to have a completely original game to have a good game. Ghost of Tsushima isn't exactly an original game, but it has enough of its own flavor to take other elements from other games and still make something of their own. I like something like that. Games like these, they are just taking this one feature from one of the hit games that I've spoken of before, and they're just running away with it without actually making sure that it fits into the genre they are trying to make the games for. These kind of combat systems, these kind of progressions do not fit in games with superheroes. They are superheroes, for fuck's sake. They are supposed to be super. How is this super when you are getting beaten up by random guards? Or you need to take 8-10 swipes on a random guard? How does it feel super? Now, obviously, in the older Batman games or in the older combat systems, you still had to hit them 3 times, 4 times maybe. There was always a damage system. There is always a damage system in games. There is always health points being calculated in the game, both enemy and yours. This has always been the case. But this whole stat-based numbers game is something that I do not like. Because it's just a lazy excuse for a progression system. This is not progression. Does everything need to be a fucking RPG nowadays? Anyway, moving on from that. So, what do you guys think though? Do you guys think this is a good thing? Do you guys think it's a bad thing? Because obviously it is not a guarantee that just because a game has this system, it's a bad game. It can still be a really fun game. But I want the games to move in a direction to surprise me in some way. And so far, I haven't seen a single game in any of the reviews that really surprised me. Cyberpunk, you could say, wowed me a bit, but again, on the base level, we have seen these kind of things. It's just a different setting on a formula that we have seen. Some people are going to kill me for it, for saying Cyberpunk isn't innovative. Cyberpunk is very innovative in other ways, but in terms of the gameplay, in terms of how the game is flowing so far, what we have seen these kind of systems before. But it's essentially in a different location with a different skin. So that doesn't mean Cyberpunk is going to be a bad game, but I just don't like this system of, having this stat-based system in every single thing and the enemies just having humongous amounts of health. I mean, you saw that boss battle with Dr. Freeze. Like, almost at the end of the gameplay section, you saw that boss battle. It's lost all its charm. I mean, it's just you wailing at some enemy and taking damage, taking hits and taking damage of them. I'm just disappointed with this. So yeah, if you like the video, press the like button, subscribe for more content that is to come to the channel, and peace.